So she said, "Why did you say that twice?" I said I didn't. This is the NECA Toys Predator 30th Anniversary Rick Hawkins. He includes a submachine gun, pistol, knife, and over 20 points of articulation. Just before we have a look at Hawkins, let's figure out how tall the figure stands, and we will put it right, it's about right there. There we go. The figure stands at 6.7 inches in height, or if you're somebody that goes by centimeters, you're looking at 17.1 centimeters in height. And to show you how he stacks up with some of the other figures of the same universe, here he is next to Dutch. Just one of the many Dutches that we've also gotten. And here he is next to Classic Predator. Just to give you a size comparison. He is obviously a little bit shorter than Dutch and quite considerably shorter than Classic Predator on the right. The figure doesn't get many accessories, but crucial accessories. He comes with a submachine gun with actually a slightly soft rubbery strapping to it. Other than really the silver clasps that are holding the actual strapping to the gun, the majority of it is just cast in black plastic. It doesn't seem like there's any additional kind of wear or anything to it. I see a little few spots here and there, but I can't tell you whether that is intentional, whether that is deliberate or not. You can take it and put it in either one of Hawkins' hands. It's to note as well that the submachine gun has rather broad handle, so when you are fitting it into his hand, it doesn't seem to fit as comfortably, say, as another machine gun or another pistol really would. In fact, you have to sort of wedge it. Once you put it in, you kind of have to tuck it behind his three fingers, and you can see that his trigger finger does actually touch the trigger, which is good. Other accessories he comes included with is a small pistol, just speaking of small pistols. This one has much more in the way of paint. Silver and a black handle. They've even painted the little rivet point there on the top of the actual handle portion. Now you can also put that into his hand, either hand really, and just kind of tuck it into place like so. Or what you can also do too, if you want to just solely display him with the submachine gun, which is probably what I'm going to end up doing, you can just move his arm up, and he's got like a little concealed holster on the side. You can take the pistol and just kind of tuck it into there. There we go. And it keeps it out of the way, but at least it's there if he so needs it. Not that it's going to fare well for him, as we see obviously his fate in the movie. One of the last things he comes included with is the hunting knife. Same sort of coloring as the pistol, silver on the blade, black on the handle, oh, almost dropped it, and a little bit of silver on the end of it. I'm looking around, and I don't see a section in which he can actually house the knife, unless it's this little, no, I thought it was maybe up there, there's a little opening. I don't think, oh, there we go. Just tucks into the side right there. I'm assuming that's where it's supposed to be, this little opening pocket here, right on the side, that tucks right into place. Something I just spotted now. One thing we can also gather too is he's got a big giant honkin' backpack on the back of his torso. I don't see a section in which you can detach it. That's not to say it doesn't exist. I just don't see a section where you can remove it. I suppose the simple fix of just sliding it down his arms could be something that you could approach, but it would always just be a little bit more difficult to get it back in place. I don't really have a reasoning for why I would want to take off the backpack myself, so I'd be just much more inclined to leave it on. I feel like he should have had a little bit more paint here. Granted, yes, that the backpack is black, but I feel like it's just a little bit of something extra there could have just broken this up because it's really all jet black. He does have a little bit of, he's got a couple of clips and a couple little fastener adjustments on the sides here that are in silver. But other than that, it's just a primarily all jet black backpack. It does feel like it could be potentially hollow. Again, I wouldn't really take the idea of taking this completely off. Probably just more so likely keep it in place. As for the likeness, I'm going to go ahead and take his submachine gun off just for the second. As for his likeness, I think it's definitely spot on. It very much looks like actor Shane Black, who portrays ill-fated Rick Hawkins in the movie. In fact, actually, the takeaway from Rick in the movie is not really so much what he does, but the jokes he tells. Something I treaded very lightly, very softly at the beginning of this review. I didn't want to make reference to some of the jokes that he uses in the film, but definitely Billy enjoys that quite a bit. Like I said, the likeness is definitely spot on. Funny enough about Shane Black, too. Shane Black, not only is he an actor, but he's actually best known for writing and directing. Some of the movies that he actually wrote were Lethal Weapon 2, and one of my own personal favorites, The Last Boy Scout and Monster Squad, of all things. So there you go. I think he's in charge and he's directing, I believe, the new Predator film. So that's somewhat ironic that he started his career, I guess, or the more notable end of his career, as being somebody that gets slayed by the Predator and then ultimately is directing the Predator film himself. So there you go. The glasses are not something that you can remove. They are likely glued in place. I suppose you could just pry them off, but they would never be the same ever again. Face sculpt is pretty good. I think, again, capturing a good likeness there. He's got some camo paint on either side of his face, wearing a cap, non-removable. And, of course, his primary outfit, he's a little bit more filled out outfit-wise than, say, the likes of a Dutch. He's sporting a jacket and camo printed pants, and down below he's got the boots there as well. You know, looking at him, he kind of reminds me of G.I. Joe Hit and Run. I think that was his name, Hit and Run. What a horrible name for G.I. Joe. Yeah, he was a parachuter. He had a very similar sort of outfit. Leatherneck also reminds me of this as well, but I don't really want to be talking about G.I. Joe's. Paint's pretty good on him, actually. This whole setup here, this whole appliance, feels like it is a softer plastic over top of an existing torso. You can kind of get it more so the vibe when you're squeezing on the side here. Also, he's sporting a pair of fingerless gloves. Everybody was wearing fingerless gloves. Again, a really nice, well-constructed, well-sculpted figure. It looks, like I said, exactly like him. My only hope, though, is that this isn't the end point for what NECA is going to do with the future members of Dutch's team. Certainly, I would love to see like a Dylan and, of course, again, a whole bunch of them. Billy, definitely would love to see a Billy get somehow, some way down the road getting released. All of it being chalking up to this likeness of whatever actors they can get to sign on board for that. Posability on good old Rick here. His head rotates all the way around, hinges up and down, and hinges back and forth as well. And actually, just before we have a look at the rest of his posability, one of the things I just want to touch base on his accessories, kind of would have been nice if he had come included with the book he's reading at the beginning of the movie. I don't know why I feel the need that that's such a big thing, but it would have been cool if he came with his book. The arms rotate all the way around, and they also hinge outward. There's a swiveling that happens all the way around on his arms, and you can also hinge them back and forth. And he has a rotation also in the hand, which you may have to wanna, there you go, just kind of hold the forearm for that. Upper torso would normally have had a ball joint. It is still present there, but you do have to kind of grab a whole lot of Hawkins here in order to get that to be accomplished. Legs split out, forward and back. It's bent at the knee, rotates the lower leg, and he also has a hinge and ankle pivot back and forth. Theoretically, he does have peg holes on the undersides of his feet. Normally what I usually say for NECA releases. The figure stands perfectly fine. Of course, mileage can be made that if you want to get a little bit more extreme with his posing, you may want to incorporate a display stand. I so happen to have a whole bunch of them, so I'll probably make use of those when I'm displaying ill-fated Rick Hawkins. If anything, his takeaway for his legacy in the Predator film is he's the guy that tells jokes. And we see how well that pays off. Hawkins, ladies and gentlemen, Rick Hawkins. You know, if you had asked me which members of Dutch's team would have come to plastic figure form next, I probably would have guessed, say, the likes of a Billy, perhaps even a Dylan, a Blaine, or even a Mac. And yet, sure enough, here we have Hawkins. Good old Hawkins, making plastic form. A rather nice representation of how he appears, and I guess it's fitting that we get ourselves a presentation here, a likeness of actor slash director slash screenwriter Shane Black, as the new The Predator film is going to be hitting theaters in the next couple of months or so. Looking forward to seeing that. Of course, the original Predator is always my go-to for my favorite Predator film. And unfortunately, even though Rick Hawkins doesn't really last very long in the film, he definitely leaves his presence behind, more or less talking about how big his girlfriend is. We'll leave it at that. In the meantime, though, today's video, we were having a look at the NECA toys. This was the 30th anniversary Predator Rick Hawkins. Looking good. If you guys haven't had a chance to hit that little subscribe button down below, what are you waiting for? New videos will be coming to this channel on a regular basis. It seems like I'm always uploading new content. Make sure that you'll never miss out by hitting that little subscribe button down below. I think it's in the bottom left corner. I would say it's the right corner, but it's always the left corner. Also, make sure you head over to the main page, check out the videos that are currently there, see if there's anything that you may have missed along the way. As always, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.